All right, hey guys, what's going on? Okay, so we're in another video. Today's October 16th, 2019. Today was pretty crazy. I mean, not regarding SES. That's a different stock that moved like 1,000%. So Netflix had their earnings today. They beat earnings. They lost subscribers in the U.S., but they still have international growth. Blah blah blah. Anyway, I think you should probably remember from a video or two ago I had made. I actually sold I think on Tuesday or Monday. I'd sold a Netflix credit spread on the puts. So that thing is probably I'm probably going to get 100%, not 100% tomorrow, but 90 something percent out of it tomorrow. So it's looking good. And I'm here with Montesir. Montesir, what's up?
Hey guys, how you doing?
All right.
I'm with King Trick, and we're about to go over our plays, actually. What we're in.
So let's get into the plays.
You want to go ahead and are you looking at my screen right now?
I am, yes.
All right, cool. So on here on the left-hand side, where you can see the plays, this is what we're currently in right now. Mm-hmm. Netflix is definitely here. You guys can see this huge jump up. We sold puts around the 270 mark.
Right, yeah, that was like right below. It did dip below it for like a brief second.
Right.
Yeah. All right. For the record, since I'm using a different computer, only my screen is showing up, so I can see your screen, but they can't.
Oh, okay.
So whatever you're just bringing up, I'm just typing it in, and I'm showing the same thing.
Okay.
So either way, I think we're okay.
Okay.
So
I also wanted to point out something that we're doing right now. Let's go to FedEx.
Okay.
So if you go to FedEx and then go to the 1 hourly chart,
okay,
you can see that if you draw this trend line here, following the pre-market and everything, that this is a pretty strong trend. And if you look here in the aftermarket, it kind of broke out. Hopefully, with due time, it should be going out of this sort of line. And this is very similar to actually what happened today in BA. If you go to BA on the 5-minute, you'll look that there's a very similar thing where it's a really, really steep upward thing that has to come down and give a little, right?
Right.
So that's what I'm.
Oh, it looks like it gave back the whole thing.
Right. So hopefully that's the best case scenario for FedEx.
We get. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
We're selling the 150, and we bought the 152.5.
Right. So you're in a credit spread, right?
Right.
And I'm just in naked puts because you had a good point about it having so much gas for so long that now it seems like it's possibly time for it to turn around.
Right.
So it's a little. Actually, I can probably draw. Mine isn't as accurate as yours. I can probably draw it like a little bit better if I'm not going to include that line. Instead, I'll just do this and I'll extend it to the right. Yeah, there we go. That's the breakout area right here, where it kind of doesn't hold this line. And you can actually, the volume on the 1 hour on that, or the 15 on that break wasn't huge, but if you go to the 15 and you look at the same line that you drew, you can see that there was a big ass red candle that kind of took it down.
Right.
So
yeah.
So it's solid. Yeah. Ours are around different pivotal points, but it is the same thing. So
right.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do agree with you on this position though, because I mean, these are the rotations, right? Apple had been coming up for a few days now straight, and now it had a shit ton of gas, and then now it turned around because like I said, it's going through the rotation. So Facebook ended up going up 3% the other day, around the time that Apple started to give off a little. So that is definitely what we're seeing right now. Is some of these stocks are going into rotations. But I think overall, what is your take? I mean, because here's the thing. So you said FedEx has been following the overall market trend for the last few days, right?
Right. Even more so, if you look at the SPY in the 4 hourly, I think FedEx for the past 5 days has been closing green every time.
Yeah, for sure.
And
SPY kind of has been, but with a different. SPY's been working with definitely a different type of volatility.
Right. Yeah, with SPY you see the red, but on FedEx you really don't.
So I wouldn't necessarily say that they're trailing each other per se. Like, even if the markets start to rally, because I mean, it is really starting to rally. We're at 298 again.
Right.
So we were right about that. At least one more rally coming out. as these earnings come around. It looks like these earnings are currently holding it up. What concerns me though is that today is actually a doji on SPY. Like you look at SPY, it's completely sideways for the day.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can also see it. We're getting that October volatility.
For sure. Yeah, it's been dojing. I mean, out of these last 4 days, 3 of them.
Three of them, yeah. So most of these days. Let me actually open up the Fed Econa Day.
And really low volume on every single day. Wow, that's crazy. So we're probably going to expect a big move because if you see these consecutive small volume days, after that there's a huge above average volume day, and so that's what we have to keep.
Oh my gosh! Hey, also another thing, if you look at the futures, they're pricing in an 85% chance of a rate cut.
Really? Wow.
The S&P 500 futures. That's crazy. Oh, not just the S&P. It's actually, I think it's over the. I mean, I don't know. It just takes certain indices and covers them all together. And so the rate, the way the futures behave actually is what covers this. But it was 68 2 weeks ago, or I don't actually know, not 2 weeks ago, several days ago. Then it was 78, and now it's 85.
Wow.
So this is actually very big.
Yeah, so I think maybe tomorrow we would expect a big rally up, maybe possibly.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, so here's actually we should be taking. Okay, let's look at the TLT and see what's up. So okay, yeah, this is kind of what I expected. So the TLT isn't necessarily like for the last few days. TLT is kind of no, actually that's not true. TLT was 140. Now it's kind of 140 again, but it's not closing at necessarily the same place, but it is. Yeah, it closed down 0.5% over 2 days. It's not terrible. It is kind of sideways because if we look at it from here, we got 140.97. We're only down about a little bit more than 0.5% over the last 4 days, 4 trading days. So that's kind of important to show. Like, if you look at it on the daily charts, you kind of see that it's leveling, kind of in the same area. Like it's holding this 140, 139 level. Right now, the TLT, and so I mean that's important because we want to know how the market's going to be behaving in the long term. And then another thing we know is that right now we're not in a headline time, right?
Right. So are there any scheduled events supposed to be happening this Friday maybe?
As far as I know, I think what's happening is the Fed is meeting on the 30th to discuss the rate cuts again, right. But as far as Econa Day and everything like that, let me take a look real quick.
Yeah, because these last 2 or 3 days have been really low volume, so I feel like people are waiting for something.
That is actually very true. That's actually very true. The volume has been dipped off.
I think the earnings today on Netflix, you said it yourself, actually, it would set the tone for like the rest of the earnings for the big major companies.
The volume dip off, I think, is pretty normal though for earnings plays. Around earnings time, this always happens.
Yeah, but like for SPY.
The Fed balance sheet is on Thursday, tomorrow.
Okay, that's big actually.
That actually is important. It's at 4:30 though. It's aftermarket.
Okay.
So
Friday should be expected.
So Friday, let me see. So we have leading indicators consensus on Friday. Kaplan is speaking. We got the 2-year French note, the 5-year note announcement, 7-year. So we have a bunch of note announcements coming Thursday as well. So I'm not sure if that will directly affect it, but what we can start looking at is, why don't we look at the yuan and see what that's telling us now?
Okay.
So apparently the yuan decreased.
Oh, it's weakened strengthened?
The yuan is potentially, I think, weakening. I know that the U.S. dollar is actually getting stronger. So, okay, yeah. So from October 8th to October 13th, the dollar had been strengthening. But now, if you look at it, you can actually see that the yuan is actually gaining back some of the strength. So that's obviously not like great for us because that's how they get around the tariffs. And I do, in an article, actually read that President Xi will be going a little bit. What's the word? I don't want to say ruthlessly, but a little bit more unhastily in regards to the what do you call it? In regards to the word, the tariffs.
Okay.
So
Unhastily meaning.
like he'll target it. He's gonna work on it kind of aggressively.
Okay.
So that's not good because that means they're gonna get around it
Right.
as they've been doing, and what that means for the world economy.
Hey, you're on the yuan right now?
I'm currently on the yuan. Yes.
So could you check for me? Actually, you said October 8th is when it started weakening.
October
What about
8th. Yes.
before that? It was like I think what 7.17 or 15 or something. Like
So the highest on October 8th, it was 7.16. And then because so it was running up. So basically from September 13th to October 2nd, it was running up, ran up to 7.15, and then it came back down to 7.11 on the 4th, and then from the 4th to the 8th, it went up to 7.16, and then it tanked after that.
Okay.
But the highest we've been.
If you look on SPY on October 8th is when that run up started happening.
Okay.
And then it broke out of that sort of downward trend.
October 8th. Yeah, you're exactly right. So as the yuan started to come down, our market went up, which is actually I think what we've come to expect up until this point. So right now that the yuan is actually coming up, on this. So what is it? The 16th. As of the 16th, the yuan is up. So we could actually start seeing, and it looks like the yuan is taking some support. Probably is going to start coming back up. So based on this information, you could probably get. I mean, if you were just throwing in a guess that it might actually come back down again tomorrow, the markets.
And it would probably coincide with these dojis at the top.
I agree as well, especially because because we actually touched almost. I think we almost touched. We didn't touch 300, but we were very close to it. And obviously, 300 is one of our is a really big resistance for us right now.
Right.
Yeah, so definitely, this is very interesting for sure because now this Netflix earnings sets the tone, but the rest of the earnings are not happening until later.
Right.
So we will need to wait on it and really see how this goes. But Netflix obviously is a very easy play right now. This massive run up. Let me take a look at where this thing hits. So Netflix is at 314. So on the daily chart, you get this huge gap up. 314. Let me take a look. 314. So how far can this boy come down? Right, 299. That'd be insane. So this is actually kind of interesting of how we're gonna deal with this situation during the last earnings, for example. Because they had bad guidance, and so they completely dropped. They dropped below the SMAs, both of them. They tanked down, and then they went further, and then they turned back around, hit it, and then kept coming down, right?
Exactly.
And so this earning brings them back above those SMAs. But I want to see how we're going to expect this time to roll around for us, right? Because, all right, let's see what's going on. So we had earnings on this day, which means we gapped up there. So the last time we did that, what do we have? We had a 13% gap up, which is actually, I believe, what we were expecting for this one as well. So 285 to 312. No, we're at 314. So is about a 10.5% gap up right now that we're dealing with.
It was a 10% gap down for the last earnings play.
It was, yes. And then for the most far away one, the one that happened in about a year ago, actually, the exact one that happened a year ago, we had a gap up of a little bit more than 13%. Actually, maybe not. No, because I have to deal. Oh, I have to deal with this top. So, my bad. So let me see. About 8, almost 9%. So we had a 9% gap up, and then the come down was. All right. Let me make sure I get this properly. It's doing that thing where it cuts out. Okay, so I can't really check that at all. I went from 380 to 364. So 364. I literally, for the life of me, I can't see it.
I think it's cut off on mine too.
Yeah, I don't like when it does that. It's doing it
But
again.
I think it's actually right on it, where it's from 346 to 379.
All right, it came down 4% that day. Finally, that took forever. It came down 4% that day, right? So I'm not saying because remember you can't exactly use the same argument for the same thing, but it came down 4% from its high. So it didn't lose the whole thing, but it lost half of it. But then, pulled it up as it kept going up. So Netflix overall seems to be like a selling calls day. Like tomorrow, I think is a great day to sell the credit spreads.
I think so too. I actually think it would make a good story if the market can follow it, that Netflix gaps up and then fills the gap somewhat immediately.
Right.
Downwards, and that would coincide with SPY going down tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Yuan going up. Yeah, I think that would be the ideal if the story plays out that way.
I actually, despite this, because the yuan hasn't moved drastically enough for me to say that the SPY potentially is coming down, I'm actually expecting a lot more volatility tomorrow.
Okay.
So I think what could happen tomorrow is, since we're gapping up, I think it's possible that we could gap, not necessarily gap, but we will, come up. We'll open up. The futures will probably open up, and then we'll come back down and then back up, maybe to start again, or maybe just we will. I don't know. We'll probably do. I don't know, something akin to that. I think we're down a little bit after hours, but it's not really that big of a deal. But I think we're probably going to catch some volatility tomorrow, some uncertainty, because think about what happened right now. So JPM reported, Bank of America reported today, and Bank of America killed it by like 47%. And obviously Netflix is destroying with these earnings right now. The IV is crazy high. I don't know. So I think it's definitely a good time to just watch. I think right now is just a good day to watch for volatility. Because there's some risk. There's some risk coming into tomorrow about, I think, how a lot of these markets are going to move based on this information. Because the markets are trying to digest a lot of information at the same time. And a lot of this has to do with the currency deal. A lot of this has to do with, now that the earnings are coming through, we want to see how all these companies are reporting, because, as Apple, Amazon, those companies start to report, then we're really going to start seeing, the market come up. So we're probably going to catch a second rally. Or a rally within this rally, if that makes any sense.
Right.
So I think, as for tomorrow, I can't make any guesses in regards to SPY. I'm just saying probably volatility. I don't think we're going to catch a straight edge tomorrow.
Okay.
And that's purely because, okay.
The news is coming out tomorrow for the Fed balance sheet, right?
Yeah, exactly. So depending on how that goes, right? Because another thing that does concern me is that the increase in the Fed rate cut probability increasing is a bad sign overall. So,
wouldn't that incite a rally up?
It would, yes. Yeah. I mean, do you recall that one time? I don't remember specifically what it was, but it was.
But a report came out and it was really bad.
Yeah. But then the market literally took off because it increased the chances of a rate cut. So exactly. I think right now what we need to think about it is how this information is being digested as of this moment. So a higher chance of a rate cut. I want to say, as far as the yuan goes, it hasn't moved much today. So let's see. As far as the 16th is concerned, where we opened was 1710. Where we're closing is 1710. So we're kind of on a doji for the yuan, to be completely fair. So what this, I think, probably means, and I mean, if you actually just look at today's candle, all right, we're on this. It's looking at the 17th of October right now, which it is not. Where are you? Oh, this is the daily. Okay, so the actually the yuan jumped really hard some time ago at 1 a.m. So a couple hours ago. Um, about 1 hour ago, the yuan jumped really hard in the intraday. But actually, that doesn't really matter far too much. What I want to look at is this. I want to look at how this looks here, and it looks like the yuan is actually coming down if you really look at it, and it's just kind of flagging downwards, but it's coming down. So what I can say about the yuan thus far is like there's still some, I guess, uncertainty going on with this as well. It is coming down. The dollar is strengthening. The yuan is not changing, I don't think. So, I guess watching that is kind of, it's like a key, so keep an eye on that. But don't, this is probably not going to incite anything right now. I guess if I had to say anything, it would probably be that. Because we're not breaking highs, we're just kind of fluctuating around the same area. So if you look at the yuan, our difficulty range, we can go far pretty back, and it doesn't really cause an issue that far out of that area. So from the 14th to the 16th, what did we see on SPY? If you look at it from the 14th, we saw some level of uncertainty, but it stayed fairly consistent about where it was, how it was affecting the market. It came up. The market still came up as well. If you look at the 14th to the 16th of October, you'll see that the yuan was actually coming up from the 14th all the way to the 16th, and it didn't affect the market.
Right. I think we were also doing all-time highs as well.
Yeah. We're not all-time high we hit almost 300 though.
Right.
So that's important. So I think the yuan isn't necessarily. There are certain things that are affecting it, and I don't think that the yuan is one of those things right now. I don't think the yuan is one of those things right now. I think that what is it? I think that right now, not headlines, not the yuan, not the trade deal, but the what do you call it? Just the earnings, I think, are probably what's controlling this right now.
Before we go, do you want to take a look at Roku?
Yeah. Okay. So let's do our stock picks right now for what we're gonna see tomorrow. So Roku.
If you look at the 4-hour chart on Roku, it seems to be a very, very easy play because you can see where it's at right now.
Yeah, I see it.
And if you look at the 4-hour, that's an immediate resistance point. So watch for tomorrow if it breaks it.
Cup and handle. I mean,
right.
I'm like I said, not fully on those patterns, but let's theoretically say that this is a resistance. What we see here, 133, right? It failed here a couple times.
Right, you see that massive doji on the hourly.
Right.
It's probably not gonna break it on the first try, but maybe the second.
Right. So we can watch for it to come back down. So let me actually write that down. So.
Right. And also another thing to factor in is that Netflix had really good earnings. Roku is similar as competition, so it should come down because of that. But who knows? I don't know.
Right, exactly.
It looks strong. Either way.
So it looks like a strong come down and then maybe come back up?
Right. Either direction will be very strong.
I mean, could you do me a favor, and I'll do the same. Can you put Netflix side by side with Roku right now?
Sure.
Let me check the dates. So Roku had earnings on the 5th of August. And let's set this up for the 5th of August. So it's not the same, but it's not necessarily different. It's interesting because Netflix comes back all the way to a high. Yeah, okay. Netflix definitely has some resistance coming up for it.
Yeah.
At 315, right there. I don't even think it's going to break it in the pre-market. Unless it does. Depending on the pre-market price action, we can figure out how this is supposed to look. But
if you see on Netflix, the earnings drop. That's at 314.50.
Yeah.
That's exactly where this earnings is at.
Right. So that's actually really interesting because so if you start at the same location, you'll see that Roku kind of comes out as a big triangle, but their dip off, which I think is what day is this? The dip off on Netflix was the 17th, the 18th of September. The dip off on this one was also the 18th of December. So if you or September. So if you cut it off to those areas, you'll see that this catalyst that is Netflix kind of brought Netflix past its break point, but but nothing has brought Roku past its break point, right? And then if you look at Disney, we'll look at the same thing. You see, I'm pretty sure this date that I just arbitrarily selected was close. Nope, it's not even close. September 17th. What date is this? September 18th. September. Interesting. So Disney is not facing a similar reaction as of right now. It's curving down and it looks like it's building some momentum upwards, but it's not doing the same thing as Netflix and Roku. Netflix and Roku both tanked on the 17th of September. And but Roku kept coming down. Netflix had earnings, and that's bringing it back above, where it fell from. No, it's not. It's not. It's about actually where it fell to, which is what you were just saying. So Roku is also back where it fell to. So I think these things might possibly act in tandem tomorrow, and we might see Roku come down with Netflix tomorrow. These things aren't really, they don't necessarily invert each other. So that's another,
Exactly, yeah.
So
something to consider.
So
either way, I think maybe it's a good position to do a credit call spread if it doesn't break.
I agree.
I think that 135, because their strike price difference is 1, so, but you'll have to check the ratio as well.
So we'll do that. So we'll watch out for Roku. Breakdown around 133.
Right.
Okay. What else are we thinking about? Apple, Starbucks. Starbucks is not reporting. Amazon's been moving.
Yeah, Amazon actually after hours, it's actually gapped up like $5, I think. So
what is it? Because Amazon opened at 1772. Came back down to open after it broke up to 1786, came back down, and came back up to the high of today. So, yeah, it's starting to seem like the TTM is definitely working. So, if you look at it on the 1 hour and the 4 hour, you definitely can see a lot more. You can see a lot more building up around that area. So that's definitely interesting area that we want to look at. So would you say Tesla?
Yeah, if you go to the Tesla hourly chart, you can see that it's hitting that high before it's dropped. So usually Tesla isn't known to continue this full-on trend. So this might be a good area to actually sell that credit spread if it doesn't either break out tomorrow or the day after.
From what it sounds like. Hold on one second. Stop. Okay, so from what it sounds like the what is it? The whole market should be coming down tomorrow. Then, kind of.
Yeah.
From what it looks like with these bigger cap stocks, I mean, these don't look like they're gonna start pushing volume, except for Amazon. Amazon looks like it could. So Amazon, Apple maybe. Yeah, Apple might actually start picking up steam again, because right now it's at the low of that. What is it? The low of the 14th. The low of the 14th, 233, is kind of supporting at the 234 level. So I'm pretty sure Apple is probably going to take some support there. Probably start taking off again. So we got those two stocks. These reporting stocks, the streaming services, are probably going to come down a bit tomorrow, because they've been moving quite a bit, so they're going to come back down. There isn't really anything else. UAL is, very predictable. So we should start looking at UAL. I don't want to get into it right now because I don't know exactly what to deal with it. But if you look at the just daily chart for it, it looks like it's probably going to just look at the daily for it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, you'll see like it's got a doji right at that end. So so
yeah,
it'll
yeah.
probably come back down
Just
to
had earnings, so
yeah.
who knows?
So it'll probably come back down to it. They did beat earnings pretty well, but and obviously they gapped up for it too. So 87 to 82, so that's a pretty decent, about a percent, not huge, but something. So okay, so there you go. UAL's earnings. Um, I don't know if it's going to support them that far. It didn't. They don't have like a crap ton of support above these levels, so we'll have to wait and see for this one.
Chart.
Huh?
This is an amazing chart.
The daily? I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's just, oh my god, so easy.
Yeah, it should be. UAL is the trade of the year, guys. Anyway, I think that's all for now. I mean, I think we have a decent list of what things we should be looking for tomorrow. Um, I think my Beyond thing worked out pretty well. I wanted to sell right above the gap fill. I wanted to sell a credit spread, so I could kind of take out from that IV that was building. It definitely worked. I didn't take it, but I should have because it worked out really well. Tomorrow we're gonna see how our Netflix credit spread works out too. Glad we didn't turn that into a condor. Yeah, that's all good. All right, you good, man?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, cool.
We're good.
All right, cool. Talk to you soon.
Cool.
All right.
See you guys.
We'll see you.